for joining us on Backwoods Pursuit. Today we're going to show you how to set up the 6 Moon Designs Lunar Duo Explorer. We're also going to show you some of the features once we get it set up. Once you're done with this video, go ahead and check us out on our website, www.backwoodspursuit.com. We have a full tent review. It includes not only the Lunar Duo Explorer, but a bunch of others that you may be interested in. Check that out. Go ahead and subscribe to our email as well. We'd love the support. Alright, so obviously first thing we're going to do is we're going to take it out of the bag here. Everything fits in this nice compact stuff sack offered by 6 Moon Designs, or that it comes with. Some instructions, and these are some poles and stakes that I've added to the kit myself. You kind of have several options when you're putting together the poles and the stakes as far as with this Lunar Duo setup. So the pole set that comes with, or that you can get through 6 Moon Designs, is this one right here. This is enough to set up the whole shelter. They're an aluminum stake, and I've found that they do bend a little bit. If you happen to step on it, and if there's a rock underneath the dirt when you're stepping on it, which obviously does happen. So I have bent some of these. They're not my favorite stakes, but they do work fine. I went ahead and purchased some of these MSR mini groundhogs. I've yet to bend one. They can break off here at the head if you pound them with a rock, but they seem to work really well. They're really super lightweight, and they work great for just about any shelter. So I added some of those to take care of some of the additional guy lines that are offered with this shelter. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is unroll the tent just like you would any other shelter that you're going to set up. One thing that is offered by 6 Moon Designs, you can purchase these, and they're carbon or aluminum poles. You can also set the tent up with a trekking pole. So one or the other. If you're a trekking pole user, you don't need these, and if you are not, these are an option, something that's offered by the company. So they're an additional cost. I'll put the cost in the comments here. One other thing, I will put links to all of these products, the MSR mini groundhogs, as well as this shelter. Check out the description and you'll see it down there. So let's get started here. I'm going to go ahead and undo the tent just like you would any other. It's pretty simple that way. And it is a little bit windy today, so it's going to be actually a good example of what it's like to set up a shelter, especially a single wall like this in the breeze. So the first thing you want to do with the Lunar Duo is grab these. These are a little arc. It's an aluminum pole basically that goes on either side, over either entry. It gives you extra space inside the tent, which is a really nice feature. You don't have to have them in there. It adds a little bit of weight, of course, but it is a really nice option that allows you for more space on the interior of the tent. So the first thing you want to do is put these in, and right in here you can see this little black part. This is where these poles go. So what you're going to do is slide them in right where the red little piece of red ripstop nylon is. Go ahead and slide that in, and then this little elastic piece here is what holds that in place. So you're going to put that right in the end of that, and then flip it back inside out. So that gives you can see, once this is set up, you'll have that extra width here on the head of the tent, and that's on both sides, so it really gives you a lot of extra volume. So I'll go do that on the other side, and we'll finish up here. And flip that back inside out, and we are ready. So the way this works, you got your strap here with the pole cable or pole cord. And on the end of that is a loop that your stake goes through. Pretty simple, pretty basic. I'm going to go ahead and use the pole to do that. And you want to stake it so that it's not terribly tight across the tent. So I'm going to see if we can find some soft ground here. It's a little rocky, as it often is. So for purposes of this, I'm going to leave it like that. Go ahead and grab the other stakes, and next what I'm going to do is go to the other side and stake the opposite side here. And the way that this is set up, you don't want to pull it all the way real tight because you won't have enough room to get your poles in there, your trekking poles or whatnot. So there's this little piece of elastic that holds the vestibule side to the floor, so it gives you some play there, but again, that's why you don't want to pull it too tight so you'll overstretch that elastic. So leave it a little bit of play in there. So same as the other side, you've got your loop on the end here. Get through there, stake that in, leave a little bit of play. I like to leave this here close to all the way in so that I can pull that tight as needed. I'll find a place that's not rocky if that's possible. I got the stake put in just a little bit, but enough to at least get this set up for you so I can show you how this works. So I'll do the same to the other sides. Go ahead, once you have those four corners staked, you're going to go ahead and find this grommet on the inside, right by where that aluminum pole is that you put in here. So that's where the tip of your trekking pole goes, or the tip of the carbon pole that they offer. So it's a little grommet, a little brass grommet, so it works either way. So I'm going to go ahead and use the trekking pole this time to show that where that sets up. Just make sure that's on the inside there. And there's a little protection point up there from the tip of your trekking pole or the other pole so that you don't puncture through on that shelter. So go ahead and attach this to this line lock to your stake, and then use your tension here to get that set. So that's going to hold it in place, so we can go ahead and do the other side. Alright, so to get this finished up here, same as the other side, I'm going to find this grommet on the inside, just like we did over there. Stick your trekking pole or your carbon pole or aluminum pole, and start it on the inside of the vestibule here. There's a grommet and the protection there for the edge of that edge of the pole, the sharp end of the pole. And then grab your line lock here, your vestibule tension. You go ahead and stake this in. And that is what you need to get this set up. And tighten that down. Now, as far as the setup on the trekking pole or the other pole, you can adjust this in or out to give yourself a little more foot room, or I'm sorry, a little more width. So something that's a little bit unique about the way that Six Moon Designs does this is this little piece here that attaches right here. That's how your vestibule attaches. So we're going to attach this just like so. And get that piece of cord in that right there. And so this actually moves up and down, and that's how you tension the fly, because it's just a slip knot right there. So you go ahead and zip this up. Zip the shelter up. Now, to tension down this fly, we move this up or down. So this side's done. Let's go snug up the other side, and then we'll show you some of the features. Alright, so we're going to do the same thing on this side as we did the other side. Again, we've got our line lock here with our little tension point there that we can tension the vestibule with. But we'll get our trekking pole or other pole set to the position that we want. Of course, that's easy to move if you need to. Go ahead and zip up the fly. And then attach whichever side you don't want to use as your entry point to this for your vestibule tension. Goes right in here, and you're good to go. So then you tension that up, and that's about it. So now we're going to go snug up each of the four corners to get the entire shelter snug the way we want it, and we'll be good to go. So we're all snug now with the shelter. One thing that I would recommend doing is getting some of these additional line locks. They don't come with the shelter, but they're pretty cheap. You can get them on eBay or Amazon or whatnot. And then some of this cord, this additional cord. So this is really useful. You can see what happens here. I pull out on this, it really snugs the center of that, and that's going to help if you have a little bit of moisture, condensation, that sort of thing. So as you can tell, this is going to flop in the wind just a little bit. So if you utilize these line locks, it's going to really snug that down for you. You can go snug up everything. And you have additionally all these guy out points. So they have the standard, you've got the 4 corners in the 2 vestibules, so 6 stakes, and then you have that additional guy out point if you need it for windy days. That's on both sides, so that can make that 8. If you really want to secure this thing, which I went ahead and attached these extra line locks and cord for super windy, or if you have more of a snow load, you could do that. I don't think you'd ever need them, so it's kind of one of those things. You can put it on there if you want, but you certainly don't need to. Alright, so now that we've got this set up, here's a quick walk around of what this looks like once it's set up. It is a really big shelter for a 2-person backcountry shelter. It weighs just about 2.8 pounds. That's without the poles, the trekking poles. But it's really a nice, spacious shelter for something that you can throw in your backpack and carry and really not feel a ton of the weight. So if you are with 2 people, this is definitely one that you want to take a look at. You can split that weight and it makes it really, really nice and spacious. So let's take a look on the inside. So again, your zipper is nice here. Throw that back. Alright, so I got that door pulled back, both sides and both doors. So 4 total have these retaining clips. Real nice. So you can go ahead and hold that back. And you can see you've got a real nice sized vestibule here. Plenty of room for a pack, 2 packs, boots, any of your cook stove, anything of that nature. This is, of course, where the vestibule, or the wall of the tent, if you will, extends out to where it attaches to the ground with a stake there. So this is an extra little space where you can throw your boots or those sorts of things. If you have extra clothes, boots, whatever that you want to stick there that you don't have room for inside the tent, or that you don't want to use up your vestibule space for. So that's a really cool feature. It gives you a little extra space, a little extra place to store things. So let's go ahead and go inside. Okay, you can just see how big this is. It's the specs are right here below. We can put those in there in the video for you. But this is a single wall shelter, so you want to keep that in mind. This here is not, there's not, of course, two walls, so you have the condensation potential. So you want to vent the shelter as well as you can. But what we did earlier, you can see here, is that aluminum pole that we put in, and that's the way it is on both sides. But you can see how much that opens up the top of this shelter. It really gives you a lot of extra space. You can see here that these walls, it's a netting, so it again helps it breathe. And this is at the head and the foot of the tent. It does not taper. It's a true rectangular size, a rectangular shape. And that wall here, from that stitching down, it's a vertical wall, so you truly don't have that square footage chewed up by the angle of the wall, which is really what makes this feel really big. Alright, so I'm about 5'11", pretty average size that way, but you can see I've got just a ton of space here, a ton of headroom. So if you're a big guy, tall guy, you want a lot of headroom, you want to be able to sit up in your tent. I could sit up all the way to about here, from here to about here on this tent, and not have to hunch over. So it gives you a ton of interior space. It feels huge inside. So it's just an awesome well, they call it the Backcountry Palace, and you can see why once you get to using it here. Zippers are nice and smooth. If there's one thing that I would change, or two things I would change about this shelter, it would be the way that this vestibule attaches here. It's kind of just a little bit of a pain to get that on there sometimes. It's not a big deal, but I don't know, it just seems like it could be maybe a aluminum clip or something like that would more firmly clip into place and stay put a little bit better. I've not had any problems with it moving. It just can be a little bit of a pain to get that clipped on the first time around. So not a big deal, but that's something I would change. And then the other thing that I would change if I could would be maybe a way to attach this section a little bit better to the ground. The floor of the shelter is pretty loose, even when it's all pitched and it's tight. So it's not a big deal, but it might be nice to be able to tighten that up if you wanted to, as sometimes the floor could feel like it's going to move a little bit on you. Again, it's a minor thing, and it's not something you even really notice once you're all set up in your sleeping bag and your pad are in there. But just something that there may be a better way to do that. No, maybe not, but that's just something that I noticed. The two things really the only two things that for me I would really change about this. Thanks for joining us today on Backwoods Pursuit. This here is the 6 Moon Designs Lunar Duo Explorer again. It's a great tent, really like it. I'll put the link in the description for where you can take a look at that, look at more of the specs. Check it out on the 6 Moon Designs website. They've done a great job with this.